Hello everyone and welcome to week 2 of our pause work replays. It is a Monday today when you are watching this, so we are going to get you started this week with a lower body strength and core session. First off, we're going to talk about the equipment that you need, which today will include this here chair, your bench, your ottoman, something along those lines. I have my 8-pound dumbbells, my loop bands, and then the last thing that we will require today is our interval timer. So hopefully by now you have that set up on your phone, on your iPad, on your laptop, whatever you're using. And then worst case, you can always just use a running clock if you do not have that app set up. But I would recommend that you download it for next time, aka tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to start you off as we did last week. Hopefully you all had a good time completing these sessions on your own, with a warm-up that we're going to complete together. Today it starts off down on the floor. So come on down here. Join me in our bow and arrow. We need a little bit of space up around our head, behind us. We're going to stack our knees in this 90-degree position, try to keep them together. Stack our arms and shoulders, take a big inhale, and then exhale across the body. Come all the way around. If you have room, you can extend your arms straight. I don't, so I'm going to keep it bent, but I will try to get this shoulder down to the floor. And then we won't spend any time there. We're going to reach up and over our head, coming back to center, doing this 5 times total. So every time we come across, we are exhaling, inhaling as we come back to center. Again, we'll repeat 5 of these total, trying to increase that range of motion. Once again, keep those knees and feet together, fixed down to the floor. And then hopefully, eventually, as we get through our 5, we are able to touch this shoulder, this arm, and hand down to the floor. So that's 5 for me, hopefully 5 for you. We're going to switch sides. You can literally just flip over and switch so I can still see you guys. And we are going to do the same thing on the other side. So once again, exhaling across, doing the same thing that we did on that first side. Although we might have one side that's a little tighter or a little looser than the other. Keep in mind, this is usually the first thing that we are doing in our day, in our morning, as most of us are completing these sessions in the morning. And so we're probably going to feel quite tight. That's why we're doing this stuff, to help loosen us up. So we'll work with that breath once again on this side, using that exhale as we cross over into our last rep here. As we finish up 5 and 5, we're going to sit up into our 90-90 position. We want to create those 2 90-degree angles in our knees, and some of us might need to lean back slightly in order to make this comfortable, possible to sit upright as possible. Locking the heels in place, we're going to flip the legs over 10 times total. So again, if you're like me, you're feeling a little bit tight, you can lean back. Goal eventually here is to get both hips on the floor, but we already knew that because we do this one all the time. So hopefully you are in time feeling a little bit better and looser in these internal and external rotations for our hips. Again, 10 total, 5 each way, trying to make contact with the inside and outside of our leg while keeping those heels down. So we'll go through these 10, finishing up these ones. Standing up, getting ourselves into our narrow stance. So we want our heels right underneath our hips, parallel feet, soft knees, arms down by our sides, or rather in this 90-degree angle. We're going to hinge the hips back. As we do that, we'll reach our arms over our head, ending up in this overhead hinged position. Pulling the hips forward, pulling the arms back in. That's 1. We're doing 10 of these total. Now, you'll feel this right away, that nice opening stretch through the back of the legs. That's what we're going for, that nice hamstring stretch. So we'll work into this one, again, trying to move the hips backwards and forwards, rather than thinking about the body coming down. We want to stick the butt out to help produce that nice opening stretch through the back side. So we'll go through 10 of these total. And in this end position here, we should not see our hands, as they should be over our head. And we will do our 10, moving through them efficiently, not spending too much time at the top or the bottom. And we got 2 more here, following along with me, which is the next part about the warm-up at least, so you don't necessarily need to count. Finishing up that one, next one, we're going to stand at the very front of the mat, arms down by our sides, stepping back into these lunges. As I step back, I'm going to send both of my arms above our head, straight arms, and getting that nice stretch now through the front of the hip. We're going to feel this in that leg that steps back, down the front of the hip flexor, front of the thigh, maybe a little bit into our core, trying to reach in 90 degrees at the front and back knee. And we are doing 20 of them. So same deal. If you didn't already count, we're halfway there. We have 10 more to go. And we will do 10 per side, 20 reps total. Again, trying to step back into those lunges, alternating our legs and sending the arms up, straight arms, every single rep. So I'll let you finish up your 3 or 4 more of those. So get my list of exercises out. I cannot remember them, as I used to. Leg swings are next up on the menu. So we're gonna hold on to something, swinging the leg forward and backward 10 times total. So there and back is 1. We are doing 10 first off in this forward backward motion. So once again, back of the leg, back of the hips, front of the hips, front of the leg. We're getting some nice dynamic stretching going on in all of those places. 10 of them, there and back, and then we'll switch side to side now, working with the inner outer thigh. Same thing, we're swinging that leg using a bit of momentum, going there and back 10 times total. So now that we've done that on that side, we need to do it on the other side. So we'll switch over and we will swing it out now on this other leg here. And we want to try to keep both legs straight. That standing knee is soft as per usual. We never want to lock out our leg. And we're trying to keep this guy straight, kicking it as high as we can. Some of us are able to kick it higher than others. Really depends on you, your body, how mobile you are, what time of day it is, how much stuff you've done before this. So we'll go into that lateral one now, side to side. Same deal. Moving through the hip. You'll feel that nice stretch through the inner thigh, the adductor, and a little bit through the glute on the outside as well. Okay, we want to be holding on. We'll go through about 4 more of those. And then we are going to get you started on our pause, work, replay style exercises. So warm-up is complete. Hopefully you're feeling warm. I am. We are going to get you started on our supersets today. We have 3 different supersets we're going to work through, followed by a core circuit that we are going to do. Again, you are responsible for completing each of these parts on your own time. What we're going to do is talk about them together. I will explain both exercises, and then you are going to press pause on this video, complete X amount of reps and sets, and then come on back, press play, and listen in for the next part. So let's start off with our first superset, which is going to need our dumbbells and our bands. We're starting off with a paused front squat. So again, you can practice a few reps if you like with me here. You can start your first official set if you would like as well. But we are going to front load our weights, get ourselves into that squat stance, standing a little wider than our hips with our toes slightly angled out to the sides. And we are pausing for 3 seconds at the bottom of each of our 10 reps. So I'll sit down into the squat, hold for 1, 2, 3, and then stand up to the top. Not spending any time at the top, holding 1, 2, 3. Normal tempo on the way down and up. So 1 to 2 seconds down, nice 3 prominent seconds at the bottom, and then 1 to 2 seconds up. You're going to do 10 reps total of those ones there. Finishing up those, we have a 3-point extension going on. We want to grab our loop bands if you have them. If you don't, you're going to follow along with no bands, but ideally, we want a medium to heavy strength band around our heels. Soft knees, narrow feet. We're going to hinge the hips back and put all of the weight onto one leg, and then count 15 reps every time you kick out as 1, hitting 3 different points. So we want to go out to the side, 45, and then straight back behind that hip, trying the whole time to essentially balance on this one leg. 15 reps total over here, and then we'll switch. 15 reps total over here, and then you're going to take about 30 to 45 seconds of rest before you complete 3 more rounds. So that's what's up for our first part. Go get it done, and I will meet you guys back here for part 2. All right. All right. All right, here we are for part 2, which is going to require our bench our chair. So I'm going to actually move this guy like this so that I have it sideways, access to that open part of the chair. Split squats are on the menu, hip thrusts and split squats. So let's start off with these split squats. We're going to be weighting this ideally with dumbbells, holding one dumbbell in each hand. If you don't have dumbbells, of course, you can use your loop bands, looping that band around opposite foot. Eccentric split squat. So eccentric is our lowering phase of our reps. We're going to be following that 1, 2, 3 seconds now on the way down. So we're really trying to slow down that lowering phase. 12 reps is on the menu for these ones. So 1, 2, 3, not spending any time at the bottom or the top, taking all of that 3 seconds to lower down into that position, 90 degrees, trying to get all the way down to that point. Both legs, 12 and 12. With this one, we have a hip thrust, 15 reps of hip thrust. So what I'm going to do is use my chair here to elevate my upper back. If you'd like to add some weights to your hips, you can grab your dumbbells, load them up, and we're working with 15 reps of these hip thrusts. Option to also band around our knees, or of course, just work with body weight. You can pause your reps, whatever makes you really feel your glutes, because we know that that is very important on these ones, and the butt muscles, they can be quite lazy. So feel free to hold it at the top. Through your 15 reps, we're going to skip the rest on these. So I want you to go back to back between 4 sets total. So that would have been our first one, and then you will complete 3 more rounds. Once again, that's what's up. So go get it done, and I'll meet you back here for the last superset of the leg strength. Here we go. Okay, here we are. Welcome back to our last and final part of the lower body strength before we get into that core work. Finishing off today, we have a single leg hip thrust. So you're pausing your reps on these ones. We're doing 10 reps total. Back in that hip thrusting position here, we can narrow out our feet so they're almost touching for these ones. Lift up one leg, driving this knee up to the chest. Holding up here for 1, 2, 3. You guessed it, seconds at the top. 10 reps total with this nice position here. We don't want to be down here on the pause. We want to make sure we're coming all the way up into that quite uncomfortable position where we're really feeling the butte do all the work. 10 reps total on each side with that 3-second pause at the top. Completing that on both sides, we're going right into the next one, which is going to be a sumo stance, straight leg deadlift. So dumbbells, are going to be in our hands, holding these dumbbells in front of us so that our palms are facing our legs. We're going to widen up our feet, not quite as wide as our normal sumo deadlift, but wider than our regular deadlift, which would be kind of in here. We're also going to add in that angle out to our toes. So we're sort of opening up our hips and legs, soft knees, and then we'll drag those weights down the legs as we push the hips back, squeeze our butt to pull ourselves up to the top, and we're working with 15 reps total of these ones here. So with these ones, again, if you want to make it a bit more challenging for yourself, because this is quite a strong exercise, we can take a bit more time in that eccentric phase, that lowering phase, but that's optional. You don't have to do that. You can just follow through your normal 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up for your 15 reps total. All right, it's on you. Go get her done, and I'll meet you back here for the final part of today's session, the core work. Here we go. All right, welcome back, my friends. Here we are for our last and final part of today's class, the core. So today you are going to be working off of a timer. So we want to set our interval timer for 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. We are going to have an addition of 1 dumbbell. So if you don't have dumbbells, you can use a heavy water bottle, you can use a heavy candle, household item, something like that. Or worst case, you can just work with your body weight. That's completely fine as well. So 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off in between each movement. You come on down, join me on the floor, unless you have to get back up to pause your video, which you will, because we have one more part, the stretching, which I seem to always forget to mention. Starting off is going to be this weighted crossover crunch. So I'm just pushing my chair sort of out of the way so it's not in my way. I'm going to hold this dumbbell up here over top of the shoulder. It's essentially going to stay here. This arm's going down on a 45, and then I'm going to lift up my opposite leg through the lifted arm, squish my low back into the floor, lower the leg, keeping that back down, and then we're going to come up and together towards the center for 40 seconds. So this dumbbell is not lowering back. It's going to stay here above the shoulder, and we're adding some weight into that crossover crunch. So we'll spend 40 seconds over here, 20 seconds regrouping, taking some deep breaths, and then we will spend 40 seconds over here on this other side. Once we're finished this one, again, we will have that 20 seconds of rest in between. We have 2 more movements. Second movement is going to be a bridge pulse. So we're going to get ourselves into this bridging position, feet on the floor. Again, once again, low back into the floor. We'll drive the hips up, and all we're doing is lowering and lifting in this bridge with these little pulses for 40 seconds. So yes, it's a booty burner. 40 seconds, you're right here. And if you want to make it harder, we can really hold and squeeze this top position here before we let down into that pulse. We want to make sure we're not going through the full range of motion. We're kind of hanging out in the top end there, just kind of pulsing up and down. Last one, a plank hold. So we'll have 20 seconds of rest once again, followed by a plank hold. You know that one, of course. We're holding our plank with our parallel forearms for our last 40 seconds. 20 seconds of rest, and then you'll repeat that 2 more sets. So you're doing 3 rounds total of this circuit. Crossover crunches, 40, 40. Bridge pulses, 40. Plank hold, 40. 3 rounds, and then I will see you back here for our last and final part, I promise, which is some stretches. All right. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Here we are for the last part. I know I already said that. Tricked you. We have a couple stretches that I would have liked you to do. Again, these stretches are important to help loosen up all the stuff that we just did. You can either set yourself a timer or just watch your running clock. We're going to be holding each side for 30 to 60 seconds. So if you're short on time, just do 30. If you have a bit more time, then you can hold them upward to 60 seconds. Starting off with this first one, this half kneeling hip flexor stretch. We want to hold on so that we're not thinking about balance. Make sure that we're doing a strong pelvic tilt, tilting our hips under, getting that nice stretch through that hip flexor in the front here. If you want to increase this stretch, you can reach your arm up and over your head. But for some people with tighter hips, tighter low backs like me, we don't need to do that. So you can sort of find a place where you're feeling the stretch, 30 to 60 seconds. So first one, the second and final stretch, although there are many other stretches you can do, but these ones are specifically going to help us after the work that we just did, is for our glutes. So I'm going to cross my heel on top of my knee, pull in this leg, and hang out here once again for 30 to 60 seconds. With these stretches, again, 1 set is better than no sets. But if you have time, or rather if you can make time, another 3, 5, or 10 minutes of your life right now, then what you can do is complete anywhere between 2 to 4 rounds of these stretches here. The more the merrier. I'm going to help, again, overall help you loosen up. And that is all, my friends. So go get that stretching done. And then I will not see you back here until tomorrow when we have our upper body session. Okay, hopefully you feel good. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye.